Welcome to this week's End of Days Update, coming to you from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Just got back from Ohio. We had a great time out in California with Ross Roberts and Reggie Wilson there in Palm Springs. Good meetings, and then we headed to Dayton, Ohio, Dayton Living Word. Great time there. We always have a wonderful time there. If you can, this weekend we'll be in Montgomery, Alabama, Sunday and Monday, and then we get home a day and then head to Germany. We'll do Rhema, Germany there for a few days. I believe it's their anniversary. It's amazing the students that have been coming, amazing how it's grown. It's just awesome. So we're coming to you every week to look at the different things that point to the Ezekiel 38 war, the signs and the setup for that. But we're talking about the signs of the second coming. But, the rapture is signless, but the second coming has tons of signs. So if we can look at what happens kind of right after the rapture, it lets us know how close we are. Listen, there a couple weeks ago, some dramatic things happened. This last week, 4 or 5 really, really cool things happened that point to the Lord's coming back. So we'll try to go through them as quickly, but as concise as we can. Really big things happening with Iran. We'll get to Syria here in a minute, and we'll get to Israel in a minute, but with Iran, massive. You have 4 cargo planes flying from Tehran into Beirut, Lebanon, the last couple of days, filled with artillery from Iran. The amazing thing about the artillery, they're being flown to Lebanon for Hezbollah. Hezbollah is the terrorist organization in Lebanon. It's being flown there for them to retrofit them to make their guidance systems be just like a ballistic missile. Now, I guarantee you this week you'll see Israel take that out, because those planes have been landing, unloading that artillery. They wait till dark, then they unload it. These are missiles that will be able to hit anywhere they decide to in Israel, whereas before they would fire artillery into Israel, and it was very random. These, they could hit Tel Aviv, they could hit Jerusalem, they could basically guide them wherever they want. That is a huge deal. On top of that, let's watch what else Iran is doing. They're building an air base right outside of Baghdad. It's an air base for missiles and drone strikes on Israel. They even announced that that's what it was for. Now, this has kind of covertly been happening, but I saw the pictures of it yesterday. It's pretty amazing that it's developed right in front of our eyes. So Iran's doing some crazy things. Another thing Iran's doing, this is the bizarrest, Russia and Iran did a joint military exercise in Syria this last week. First time ever. Why is that a huge deal? Iran will join up with Russia in the Ezekiel 38 war to attack Israel. So you have the players laying their cards out again, just like we talked about Turkey 2 weeks ago. I mean, Turkey, basically, Erdogan said, we will go to Jerusalem, we'll take the Temple Mount from the Jews, and we'll protect the Palestinians. Absolutely crazy. Now, the stuff with Turkey, this is so intriguing to see what's happening with Syria and Turkey. We announced that we were going to pull out of northern Syria, just northern Syria. Well, the news media went absolutely crazy yesterday, saying, "Oh, it's horrible. We're not protecting the Kurds because Turkey wants to build a 300-mile buffer zone and they want to attack the Kurds." Listen to what America did that's not being reported at all yesterday in the media. The media is going crazy. I almost can't believe that it's that much of a lie. All we did was pull out 150 troops out of the 2,500, and on top of that, we made it impossible for Turkey to invade Syria and attack the Kurds. Why? We disconnected our central command, basically the intelligence gathering facility that Turkey had for their aircraft and for their military. We cut them off. So by cutting them off, they're not allowed to even attack the Kurds. So it is kind of amazing how things are reported so weird. But that's a huge deal that Turkey's wanting to be a major player and Turkey's wanting to go on their own. Turkey's wanting to do exactly what they want to do. It's really a thought pattern of, remember, Turkey's mentality is if they start a world war with Israel, it'll bring in their Messiah. I remember when I first started the End of Days Update, the Lord told me to pay attention to Turkey. Turkey's such a major player. So all of these things keep happening. You had rockets fired from Gaza again. Israel retaliated. You still have in Israel, no, they can't form a government yet because it's still too tight. So one side goes one way, one side goes the other. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Now, Israel in the last few days has been expecting a surprise attack from Iran on Yom Kippur. That's when the 1973 war happened. So they've been anticipating that. And they've set up basically, it's a cyber warfare to keep Iran from attacking them. So they're on guard all the time. We live such a blessed life in America. Wherever you're watching this, you're probably not having rockets fired at you all over the world, but Israel has rockets fired at them every evening. So it's crazy. So what you're seeing with Iran, what you're seeing with Hezbollah, what you're seeing with Turkey are absolute basic setups for what's going to happen right after the rapture of the church, when they connect with Russia to invade Israel. What does that tell us? The Lord's about to come back. Now, I believe we still have a little bit of time. I know that freaks people out when I say that, but man, you're seeing the players come on the field for what's going to happen right after we leave. So why do we get into this? Remember, Jesus said you can tell what your hours, you can tell what the weather is going to be, but you don't know your hour of your visitation. That's the only time he rebuked the crowd, rebuked the Pharisees many times. So I hear people go, why should we know all about end time events? Well, tell a quarterback that in the last couple of minutes of a football game. He's watching the play clock because the plays are more crucial. When you got a couple minutes left, you can't make mistakes. And preaching on the rapture of the church, preaching on the second coming of the Lord is to accelerate. It's not an escape theology. It's a hustle because we have such a short period of time. And the main reason we get into all these things is because the Lord loves you so much. He wants you happy. He wants you expectant. He wants you joyful. He wants you freaked out happy because you're about to see Him face to face. So you have all these signs, and then you've got signals of the coming of the Lord. So let's run through the signs for a minute, and then we'll get to the signals, because man, you have it all happening right in front of your eyes. You got Israel made a nation. You got Jerusalem being won back. You got the Hebrew language restored. Ethiopian Jews brought back. You got the fertility of the land of Israel. Revival of the Roman Empire. You had Ezekiel prophesied there'd be fish in the Dead Sea. They showed up this year. That's 2,700 years ago. You had foxes on the Temple Mount. I mean, that was prophesied in Lamentations that the Temple Mount would be so desolate. That'd be right before the third temple would be rebuilt. I mean, how amazing. You got foxes in place. You got 172 different species of predatory birds because God calls on the fowl of the air. I mean, I remember when that ornithologist said we have largest gathering of predatory birds ever in history. So it's amazing. You got fish in place. You got foxes in place. You got birds in place. You got the Temple Mount Institute. They're ready to start having sacrifices again. I mean, it's remarkable to have all of these things come together. It's a big deal because all these verses are coming to pass because Jesus is about to come back. Many, many other signs. You got men be lovers themselves. We have selfie sticks. And then you had the signals. You had blood red moons on Passover and Tabernacles a couple years ago. Pretty remarkable. 4 in a row. NASA calls it a tetrad. When's the last time you had 4 in a row on Passover and Tabernacles? 1967 when Jerusalem was won back. 1948 when Israel was made a nation. 1492 at the Edict of Expulsion when the Jews were kicked out of Spain. So you're watching verses come to pass in your lifetime. Then you had basically the Bethlehem star this last year, remarkable. You had Jupiter, Regulus, Venus come together at the birth of Jesus. Constellation was Virgo. This last year, NBC Nightly News said we have a celestial event. We've got Jupiter, Regulus, Venus. I'm like, oh my God, that's the Bethlehem star. First time in 2,000 years. Many, many other signs that I don't get into. The September 23rd sign a couple years ago. You had Mercury do a flyby of the sun that went down directly over the Temple Mount at sundown. Then you had the planets formed a sickle, the moon formed a sickle, and then you had Orion change his instrument to hammer. So you had hammer and sickle on the same day. And what is that? That's Russia's symbol. Why? Russia's going to attack Israel. Ezekiel says that God protects Israel so that the heathen may know that He is God. So you're watching all these setups for our Father to get the earth ready for Jesus to reveal Himself to His brethren, just like Joseph revealed himself to his brethren. Why? Jesus is about to be revealed as the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. So we're so blessed. We're so blessed. Hey, we have a brand new End Time series, this 10 CD series that's available now. Order it at josephmorris.com. Grab that. We've got some new hats that says Jesus is coming. Look busy. Those are so cool. But we have a thought pattern to be on Facebook, to be on Instagram, and to be on our YouTube channel. So we're getting ready to do all these launches. So what do we do as a church, though, getting into these end time events? All these details every week. We help our local church, help our local pastor get the message out. Jesus is just about to come. Wow, amazing. All the things the Bible said you'd see right before His return, you're watching them right in front of your eyes. Wow, we're blessed. We'll see you next Wednesday. Have a blessed week.
Thanks for joining us today at the End of Days Update. If you'd like to be notified every time there's a new post, just go to the EDU at josephmorris.com and subscribe to receive email alerts. If these posts and updates have been a blessing to you, please consider making a one-time donation to help get the message out, or even becoming a monthly partner with Joseph Morris Ministries. Thanks again for tuning in to the EDU, and we'll see you next week.